So today has been a momentous day. There's been so much heartache, torture, pain, and suffering over the last 2 years. And I know that and I've shared this as well, there are many unanswered questions that remain about the future in Gaza, Hamas, and just what's going to happen moving forward. But today, the only thing that can be on our minds is the relief for the families and loved ones of the hostages, and the hostages themselves, most of all, who have been released. I know people have concerns about what we're doing in exchange for this, retreating from Gaza, releasing terrorists. I know all of that, and as I say, there are plenty of unanswered questions. We also don't know what Israel has up its sleeve. But today, we can only just feel relief and joy for our brothers and sisters. No matter how you feel about whether you're coming from the left or the right or whatever, today is a day for unity. You know, we're actually learned that on a Jewish mystical, spiritual level, even in spite of the choices that we may make, if we have unity, that brings so much merit to our people. And I'm overwhelmed with joy for the hostages who are experiencing relief. And I want to show you some videos and footage that we're seeing today. This is Omri Miran, a survivor of more than 2 years in Hamas captivity in Gaza, together with his wife Lishai today. This is Alon Ohel. Alon Ohel, a survivor of more than 2 years in Hamas captivity in Gaza. He's on board an IDF helicopter on his way to a hospital in Israel to begin his recovery, undergo further assessment, and reunite with more loved ones. He writes on the whiteboard, "My song is my breeze, my open window, my strength, laughter and tears, the end to my suffering." This is Guy Gilboa Dalal, a survivor of more than 2 years in Hamas captivity in Gaza, aboard an IDF helicopter on his way to a hospital in Israel to begin his recovery, undergo further assessment, reunite with more loved ones. He writes on the whiteboard, "Thank you to the IDF, to all of Israel, I'm back. I'm Yisrael Chai." Here's crowds filling the streets of Elkanah Bobot's hometown, united in joy and relief as they celebrate his release from 2 years of Hamas captivity in Gaza. Here are the first group of hostages released today after more than 2 years in Hamas captivity, arriving at Sheba Hospital in central Israel. There's an image of Maxim Herkinel, finally free with the IDF after 2 years in Hamas captivity. Here's twins Gali and Ziv Berman arriving at hospital in Israel. Here are the crowds cheering in Tel Aviv as the IDF helicopter carrying Hamas captive survivors lands at the hospital. After more than 2 years in Hamas captivity, they're finally home. Here's Alon Ohel, who is back home. Eitan Moore, finally reunited with his family.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
יש לך שתי ידיים, שתי רגליים.
תראו איזה גבר, תראו.
Look at this boy, she's saying.
רועי התחיל את...
This is after surviving more than 2 years in captivity, Matan Zangalka finally reunited with his mother.
חיים שלי, חיים שלי, חיים שלי, אתה אלוף גיבור, אלוף גיבור, כפרה עליך אני, כפרה עליך אני, כפרה עליך אני, כמה החיות שלך מחכות לראות אותך, ואילנה, חיים שלי ונוני, כל העולם חיים שלי אתה. בטח, החזירו לי אותו אחרי 4 ימים, אתה לא מבין, טונטון, אתה לא מבין, חיים של אמא. כפרה עליך אני, כפרה עליך אני, זה החיים שלי, אתה רוצה לשתות, כפרה עליך, לא כפרה עליך.
First image of Segev Kalfon finally free with the IDF after 2 years in Hamas captivity in Gaza. Segev, we've been waiting for you. Guy Gilboa Dalal finally reunited with his family in Israel.
אתה בבית! אתה בבית! אתה בבית! אתה בבית! מלך! 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 מלך!
Man. These cries. They pierce the soul. The Gemara says what comes from the heart pierces the heart. Just have to imagine this is your family, your loved ones. Such evil our people have had to face. Such evil. The most depraved form of evil you can imagine. And we're such a brave, good, and an innocent people. Sadly, it's the best and bravest that have to face the worst and most evil. That's the task of God's chosen people. This is hard. Here's an image of Ariel Cuneo finally free and with the IDF after 2 years in Hamas captivity in Gaza. Yosef Hai Mahana finally reunited with his father in Israel.
נשמות שלי, אוי, שנתיים, חיים שלי כפרון עליך, הלב שלי, חזר לי החיים, חזר לי החיים, תודה לשם שהחזיר אותך חי, תודה.
It's heavy stuff. Matan Angres, the survivor of more than 2 years in Hamas captivity in Gaza, aboard an IDF helicopter on his way to hospital in Israel to begin his recovery, undergo further assessment, and reunite with more loved ones. He writes on the whiteboard, Daniel, Tomer, and Etai, his tank crew, you are the kings of lions, due to the heroes in uniform, Am Yisrael Chai. Bar Kuberstein, finally reunited with his family in Israel. Eitan Horn, finally free and with the IDF after 2 years in Hamas captivity in Gaza. Eitan, we've been waiting for you. Nimrod Cohen, finally free with the IDF after 2 years in Hamas captivity. Nimrod, we've been waiting. There he is with his family. You just can't imagine the relief, but also the pain. David Cuneo finally through with the IDF after 2 years in Hamas captivity in Gaza. David, we've been waiting for you. Maxim Herkin finally reunited with his mother in Israel after more than 2 years in Hamas captivity. Eviatar David, famous because, of course, we saw the images of him being forced to dig his own grave. Now here he is, home and safe. Elkanah Bobot, a survivor of more than 2 years in Hamas captivity, reunited with his wife in Israel. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Avinatan Or finally free with the IDF after 2 years in Hamas captivity. And there's more. There's Eviatar with his parents in Israel. Eitan Horn, survivor of more than 2 years in Hamas captivity in Gaza, aboard an IDF helicopter on his way to Israel. He writes on the whiteboard, "Until the last hostage." And thanks to Stand With Us for sharing that. There's so much to say, and there's been so much pain, and also so much incredible heroism and miracles that we've seen over the last few years. One thing I have to say to finish on a positive note is this. I remember doing I do a weekly call with Rabbi Manis Friedman, who is one of my rabbis. And he's a wonderful man, the wisest man I've met. And anytime I speak to him and anytime we speak on his group, he'll always ask people, what's the good news? Because he always wants us to seek out the good in everything. Because there's good everywhere. God is a creator, not a destroyer. And behind even what seems bad, there is good. And whenever you speak to him, he'll say, what's the good news? Even if you've got a problem to discuss. He wants you to open your eyes to see the good as well. And after October 7th, 2023, on our first Zoom call with him, I was thinking, what on earth is he going to say? What's going to be his words of comfort? What's going to be his assessment? There's nothing good to say. And he said, after of course acknowledging the barbarism that we've seen, but he said, but be in no doubt, now that we've been through all this pain, let's be clear, it's going to be a great year. And I just broke down at that moment. That's the story of the Jewish people. We were given the name Israel when Jacob wrestled with the symbol of the angel of death. And he wrestles with him and he gets badly wounded. But he is triumphant. And before he leaves, he says, bless me. He says that to the angel. And the angel says, no longer shall you be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have wrestled with man and God and have triumphed. The Jewish people will not let go of darkness, of pain, until we find the blessing within it. And there can be no doubt that despite all the pain over the past 2 years, we have also shone so much light amidst the darkness. The world, the Jewish people and Israel are radically different now, or rather, radically restored to their divine mission now. We are way more in touch with who we are as a people, with our connection to the land, to our Torah and our identity. We have just discovered the most incredible courage, discovered our incredible potential despite our small size and landmass. We've seen off Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran. These were concerns that were deeply worrying to us before October 7th. I'm not saying the road is going to be easy ahead. Who knows? Who knows? But one thing is clear, no matter what we face, because of what we've seen through this difficult period, and all the hostility that the world has thrown at us, we should know in our hearts that no matter what happens, we are going to come out triumphant. So I have only 3 words to conclude with. Yisrael Chai. Before we wrap up, I want to share something important with you. The entire anti-Israel movement is built on one central accusation, that in 1948, Israel stole the land, and ever since, Palestinians have simply been resisting. But what if everything we've been told about this story is untrue? What if the real history of 1948 shows not Arabs being forced out, but Jews, while seeking peace, having to fight for their survival against a genocidal enemy that willed its destruction long before Israel's re-establishment? Have a watch of the trailer for our new, groundbreaking and essential documentary entitled What Really Happened in 1948. And if you want to see the full film, just click the link in the video description. In 1948, the world witnessed the rebirth of the Jewish state, the State of Israel. A moment celebrated as a miracle of survival and self-determination after centuries of persecution and the horrors of the Holocaust. Yet for decades, this event has been twisted into a narrative of theft and catastrophe, with the so-called Nakba portrayed as Israel's original sin, where Jews allegedly stole Arab land and displaced innocents in a premeditated act of ethnic cleansing. But what if this story is fundamentally inverted? What if the cause and effect are the other way around? Not Israel aggressively seizing territory and Arabs responding in self-defense, but Arabs, driven by deep-seated hatred, rejecting the Jews' legal and historical rights to live in their ancestral homeland and waging a genocidal war long before Israel's re-establishment. In this JTV Plus documentary, we're going to uncover the unvarnished truth about 1948, the centuries of pogroms and anti-Semitic violence that set the stage, the Arab leaders' explicit calls for extermination, and the defensive war Israel fought to secure its existence. We'll challenge the pervasive lies head-on, showing how Arab rejection of peace wasn't about creating a Palestinian state, but about denying Jews the right to live at all. From the Nazi-allied leader of the Arabs in Palestine, the Mufti al-Husseini, to the forgotten occupations by Jordan and Egypt, when no Palestinian state was even considered, this is the story of a conflict rooted not in displacement, but in whether the Jews deserve to live in their homeland. Join us as we debunk the myths with facts, confront the historical record fairly but firmly, and reveal why 1948 was not an act of aggression, but a righteous response to annihilation. This is what really happened in 1948. To watch this JTV Plus documentary and access much more premium content, click on the link in the video description.